Hey, what's going on, everybody? We've got a catch can in front of us. We've got a couple PCV plates in front of us. Both of these are from Damond Motorsports. Super excited to show you some Damond stuff today. We're going to tell you about Damond itself, just some other products that they offer, and then specifically about these two items. So hope you enjoy. What's up, everybody? It's JP from Edge Autosport. Thank you so much for tuning in. We've got some Damond Motorsports parts in front of me right now. Can't wait to tell you about them. Hopefully you guys like the video. If you do, make sure you subscribe and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and just let us know what you think. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the comments section below. We'd be glad to get back to you, so we always do. Yeah, so we have some Damond Motorsports parts here, and these are two of my favorite parts that they make. They make a lot of different stuff for the Mazdaspeed 3, the Mazdaspeed 6, the Focus ST, a handful of other platforms, but that's kind of the bulk of what they do. They've been in the Mazdaspeed game for a long time. They are very, very true, down to the roots enthusiasts, especially with the Mazdaspeed platform. So I know these guys personally. They are really, really cool guys. So I'm glad to offer their parts. They make anything from motor mounts to, the PCV plate, a lot of catch can kits. We're going to go over one catch can kit here today, but they actually make a variety of catch can kits and styles that you can choose for your car, from kind of a more basic setup to a more wild, high horsepower setup. So we'll go over that. And they make even something for adding port injection to your Mazdaspeed 3 if you're really going for high horsepower. Along with a bunch of other accessories. Short shift kits is another thing that they do. So they make a lot of cool stuff for those cars. If you don't know about them, if you haven't heard of them, you might be living under a rock. But if you haven't, go check out our site. Make sure that that you go see what they have available. EdgeAutosport.com, of course. So we're going to start off with the PCV plate first here. As you can see, we've got a gold one and a black one. These are really, really nice. They're made out of a solid block of aluminum. So they're very, very strong, very thick, very durable. And then you can see that they have three provisions here for basically venting the crankcase. So the crankcase is that area where the crank is, where the back side of the pistons and the rods are spinning extremely fast, obviously. And as the engine is operating, especially with higher horsepower setups, there's a lot of pressure being generated inside of there, and that pressure needs to be released. So that's done through this PCV plate. This is connected directly to the engine block on the front. So if you pulled off the intake manifold, this would be sitting right underneath it. So you can set this up a variety of ways. You can set this up so that, well, actually, let me back up. The factory way of setting it up is a port that goes from this plate to the intake manifold. The intake manifold under vacuum, it sucks all the crankcase pressure out when it's at idle. The vacuum sucks it out, and then when you're at wide open throttle and there's a lot of pressure being generated there, it actually goes through the valve cover and back into the intake pre-turbo. That's the factory version. If you want to keep your intake system clean, if you want to catch all that gunk, all that blow-by into a catch can, if you want to just have a better performing, more efficient, higher horsepower setup and a more reliable setup over time, you use something like this. So the PCV plate, it adds on, this is going to add on two different ports on top of the one from the factory. You can use only just two. You don't have to use all three, which is why they come with a couple of, I'm sorry, not a couple, but they do come with a block for one of the ports in case you want to block it off. Actually, they do come with two just in case you want to run it factory style. But you block off one of the ports if you just want to use two, or you can use all three. And that really depends on which catch can setup you're using. So this is going to be for the stock PCV valve right here. And then you're going to use one of these -10 fittings with an O-ring for proper sealing. You're going to hook this up to the variety of catch can setups that I'm going to mention today. So it gives you extra venting for your crankcase, especially with a stage 2 catch can that's vented. I'll go over that in a second. And it also just gives you the ability to run that vent to a catch can, even if it's not vented to the atmosphere like this catch can is. If it's a sealed catch can, it just gives you the ability to run those oil vapors and that pressure and all that blow by through to a catch can and let that catch it before it goes back into the intake. So if you run a 2-port setup, you're going to use the factory PCV. You're going to use a check valve in between that. You're going to run that to a sealed catch can, and then you're going to run that catch can back to the intake manifold. On the second port, there's a variety of ways you can set up, but my favorite is take the second port, run it to a vented catch can, and then run the vented catch can to the intake pre-turbo. That is one way to set it up. There are many ways. You can check out Damond's site or our site for those different ways. For a third way, what you can do is block off the intake completely. You can have 2 different lines going to a vented catch can, so there's just a little bit more pressure relief going on, a little bit more flow of the crankcase pressure into a vented catch can. So there's a variety of ways you can hook it up, but the Damond plate lets you do all those different ways. It's the most versatile, the most flexible PCV plate you can get out there, and we have these things all day long, every day. So yeah, if you order one, it'll go out right away, and there you go. So again, they come in black and gold, depending on your color scheme. Now this sits below the intake manifold, so you really won't be able to see it. So, you know, you can get the gold, but it's not super visible from just the top of the engine bay. Just keep that in mind. So all these fittings it comes with are very, very high quality O-ringed fittings. These will be very durable, and they're going to fit just fine inside the PCV plate. So now to move on to the catch can setup. This in particular is a stage 2, and like I mentioned, there's a lot of different ways you can set it up. So let's talk about locations. First of all, they have 3 different locations for each catch can that they have. There's a popular, you know, locations. Definitely on the website you can find out what those popular locations are. But then there's a sealed version, which this is not. This is a vented version. You can see this filter at the top. There's a sealed version. That's for guys that are doing, that's going to be the stage 1, and that's going to be for guys that are doing just single catch can setups for the most part. If you just want a catch can and you want to catch that blow by and that gunk and that oil vapor, all you need is a stage 1 sealed catch can, and that does a great job at catching all that gunk before it sends it back into your intake system. The stage 2, what it's going to do is it's going to also catch a lot of vapors, but it's going to release that pressure through this vent right here at the top. So, and you know, this filter is on here so that those oil vapors don't escape out of here either. It's going to keep the vapors inside the can, but release the pressure out of the open filter. Now the stage 3 can is really just basically the stage 1 plus the stage 2. It just adds both of them. So if you know you're going to go in the direction of a dual catch can kit and you don't have a catch can yet, it's best to just do the stage 3. Now, as far as optional equipment goes, you can get black hosing, you can get red hosing, which we have here. I believe you can get blue hosing as well. So there are some options there depending on what you want to do with your engine bay. Check out the different locations, see where you want to put it, and you know, whatever works best for you. These are all going to do the same thing, just in a variety of locations that are available. And they'll send you different brackets based on the location. So, you know, whatever location you choose, they send you a bracket that's going to fit at that location. So these are 100% bolt-on. They're just going to go right on the car. There's no crazy fabrication that you have to do. Installing a catch can isn't the easiest thing in the world, but these are pretty straightforward as it gets. One thing I forgot to mention too is they come pre-installed or pre-assembled with this drain valve on the bottom here. You can see it's just a 90 degree little drain valve here, and that opens it up. You can put a fitting on the bottom and drain it out while it's on the car. You can hook up a little, you know, just like a tube to drain it out. It's super easy. You don't have to take the catch can off or anything like that. So pretty easy stuff there. Both of these come with all the hardware you need, including check valve, fittings, all that good stuff to make sure the stuff gets installed correctly. So catch cans can be a little bit complicated. They can be a little bit, you know, frustrating to understand or set up or anything like that. But if you want to keep your engine in good shape, if you care about performance, if you care about efficiency, this is definitely something that's going to help you achieve that. It's not a sexy modification. It doesn't add power, but it keeps you, it maintains your power over the long term, and it keeps your engine running efficiently in the long term. So this is definitely something you want to do if you care about performance. So again, if you have any questions, just let us know. We'd be glad to help. We've set these up on cars a lot of times, on our own cars, things like that. So we're very familiar with it. If you have any questions, let us know. We'd be glad to help you guys. Thank you so much for watching this, and we'll talk to you soon.